Let's do the clap. And 3, 2, 1.
Back of De Bruyne. Mohamed Salah wraps it up, and the roof comes off.
A chance for a hat-trick for Son's young men. Oh, Bruno Fernandes. This is dangerous. It's a magnificent finish from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
An absolutely fabulous goal from Declan Rice, and West Ham may be out of reach now.
Christian Pulisic for Chelsea, 1-0. The US international scores his second goal in 2 games. Lacazette will go for goal. It's a stunner, an absolute screamer from Alexander Lacazette.
Oh boy, I don't think I've ever been more hyped for a Premier League season after watching that video.
I'm pretty pumped too. I've been waiting.
I don't know. That was a good one.
Waiting all summer for the Premier League to start back up.
Yep, and it's here. So welcome everyone. This is the first episode of, I don't know what we're calling it, BettorOff breaks down the Premier League. And we're kicking off with episode 1.
Yep.
I'm Harry, it's Jordan, and we're really just here to talk about what's been going on in this kind of crazy, it's been back and forth, crazy to not crazy off season, right?
Yeah, it has been, especially with it being so condensed, and I feel like we just got off the Euros and we just got off the Premier League, and I haven't had a rest, so I feel like those players haven't had a rest either, but I'm excited to already get back.
Yeah, I feel like I need a few more weeks just to, calm down after, the finals going to penalties in the Euros.
Yeah.
And then, the Premier League season wasn't the most exciting, but still waking up at 7:30 on a Saturday kills you. So, but we're back. We're back today. Today, Friday, is when you're seeing this. It is Wednesday for us, but we're excited to get things rolling. So I think I want to start off with some preseason news. Both topics centering around Man City and their seemingly endless flow of money. First, let's talk about Jack Grealish.
3. And he goes to curling, what a goal! Jack Grealish, that is absolute genius!
I want to talk about Jack Grealish because that's a done deal.
100 million.
Is he worth 100 million? That's the question of today, is X player worth 100 million?
Well, will Jack Grealish sell 100 million in jerseys day one? Yes. So they've probably already made their money back right then and there, just on Man City Jack Grealish jerseys.
That's true, and that's really all they care about.
Yeah.
But as a City fan, I'm not saying you are a City fan, for the few City fans out there, how do you feel about this? You drop 100 million when, they're very obviously going after Harry Kane, which I don't even know if this affects that as much. But also, Grealish is going to take time away from some of their exciting young stars. You have Foden in the midfield and Torres, is it?
Yeah.
I
think the first thing was, and it's done with this, but I think their first thing when they signed Grealish and the Messi news came out, they were like, well, shoot, that 100 million would have been lovely for Lionel Messi, but I think the ink was already
just
dry.
To pay him in wages.
Yeah, I think the ink was already dry on Grealish, and that was a done deal. But I bet you if they could reverse time a little bit, they would have put a nice little bid to bring Messi back with Guardiola.
Yeah, he wanted to, but hey, Neymar's got the pull.
He does, yeah. But whether, Jack Grealish is worth 100 million, that's kind of been, if you're a fantasy player, or if you're a, you like betting on Man City, Pep Guardiola has a rotation all the time. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how much you spent. Now, I think Grealish will start just about every game. You don't spend $100 million on a player to put him on the bench. I just don't see it happening.
I have to agree with you. I think if Grealish isn't starting every game, I need an Amazon documentary into what's going on at Man City. That they're just like, hey, throw 100 million and let him get accustomed to Man City football.
Yeah.
But Jack Grealish, it's a knock-on effect. It goes to Aston Martin, who I think was one of the most fun teams to watch last season. I don't know what it was. It seemed like they had to spring their step when everyone else was battling, like you said, a condensed calendar. But hey, they've made some moves themselves with that 100 million. Like a whole new front three. You have Danny Ings coming, Leon Bailey coming. Do you think let's just flat out, are they going to finish better, worse, or the same as last year? What do you think?
Well, that's the tough thing to say because Villa were playing out of their socks last season. Like at one point, I think they were third, maybe second in the league.
Yep.
Pretty far into this season. No one expects that. But I can also tell you, Villa fans are gutted that they lose their best player. You can bring in Danny Ings, who's a phenomenal striker. But will that make the difference? You still have the same team. I will say, to everybody, I am an avid Leicester City fan, so I'm very used to teams playing well above their caliber. If they can do it again, I personally don't think so, and not because they're getting worse. I think everybody's just getting better. The teams that they competed with and finished better than have made big signings, and it's hard to stave off the Arsenals, the Tottenhams, the Chelsea's, Man U's, and even Leeds might have some improvement this year. So I think they're going to finish worse than they did last year. I don't think they'll have as good of a season.
All right. Grealish was out for a decent chunk of last season, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he has some calf injuries. I think that's what it was. And maybe I'm just saying calf injuries because he has massive calves that I just noticed.
They're distracting.
They are distracting.
It's like Raheem Sterling's posture with his ass. It's distracting.
I was watching with my girlfriend. She's like, his legs are massive. And I'm like, hey.
And then he turned it off. And
I said, we're not watching this anymore. It's between his legs or his hair. Like, it's one of the two.
Yeah, pick your poison.
Yeah.
But let's talk about another injury-prone English player, Harry Kane. I'm a Tottenham fan. To get that out of the way, it's estimated that Tottenham wants 160 million, even if they do sell. As a Tottenham fan, this seems to be derailing our season. I think the time to set a deadline has already passed. Like, I think when he didn't show up to training at the beginning of last week, they should have said, okay, next Monday, it's either happening or it's not, and everyone's going to know it. Man City's going to know it. We're going to know it. The fans are going to know it. Because there's so much freaking secrecy going around. And if they do what some conspiracy theorists are saying is hold on until they play Man City in the opening game and then trade him, I think that screws us even more.
It's such a weird situation. He wants to go. He's earned the right to go. Levy's a scumbag and probably did make a gentleman's agreement with him and is turning his back on it now. They've been said they're putting in bids for other strikers, but 160 million, that's so much money. Like, why would he take that? And he doesn't want to play.
It's a lot of money for the Golden Boot winner. I don't know. On one hand, it's, you signed the 6-year contract. You knew there's no release clause there. There's no buyout clause. On the other hand, you would hope that the stories about a gentleman's agreement are a little blown out of proportion, but I think he handled it completely wrong. I think that if he wanted to move, not showing up to training was not the way to do it. I think Dan Levy just dug his heels in more.
Yep.
And he'll keep Harry Kane and play him on the third squad.
And Kane's not that type of guy. He's not that guy to throw a fit. And people hate agents, and I'm telling you though, if Harry Kane didn't have his brother as an agent, had a top tier agent like every other superstar has, this would not have happened to him.
Oh,
so,
100%.
Yeah, so they locked in a good long agreement, did the gentleman's agreement, and now he's pouting, and it's going to be awkward if they don't let him go. It's going to be awkward. And I don't know, do you sit in, is he going to pull a Gareth Bale with Real Madrid? Is he going to sit on the bench and pout and not play hard? I don't know. That's a weird one.
It almost seems like it's going to be, there was so much turbulence that, I don't know, can he come back from this as a Spurs player? Spurs fans adamantly on social media were just being like, all right, sell him already. Yeah,
he's earned it. And you know what? I think when they brought Mourinho in, I'm pretty sure he wanted to go before Mourinho came in, and they said, look, we're bringing in Mourinho. He's a serial winner. Stay with us one more season. So he did. and they won't let him go.
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. As a Tottenham fan, I don't know what. It's so late. It's almost too late for a replacement. I mean, not too late, obviously, in the transfer window, but
yeah.
Then we're going to be playing 3 or 4 games without a real striker. Son can play striker, but before that person's even antiquated with the squad.
I think I saw a bid in for, I think Martinez, I think it was, from Inter. He seems.
But now that with the Lukaku news, they don't want to sell.
Yeah, but you know what? I think everyone's on their way out of Inter. I think they're in financial trouble as well, from what I've heard. And so it's just one of those things where, they're just raking in cash. So, and these Premier League teams have the money to spend. So, whatever.
That's true. So, like I just mentioned, Lukaku, the second player we're talking about with £100 million, euro, I don't know which one, price tag. Is Lukaku worth that?
Man, he was not impressive at Manchester United. He wasn't. He wasn't. They called him slow. First of all, he's not slow. He's a phenomenal athlete. I like Lukaku. He pouted there, went off to Serie A, went off to Inter, won himself a title. The coach left. He went there for the coach. When the coach leaves, he leaves. Now he goes to Chelsea. Now, is he coming back with the same attitude of last time he was in the Premier League, or is he coming back with, I'm going to murder this Manchester United team and every single person who didn't like me?
He's going to score no goals except in the Man City games.
Oh, Manchester United,
yeah.
And that's kind of how I see him. Now, being on Chelsea, think who he's got to support, though. At Man United, he had some players, and but you have Martial, Rashford, but they're not really support players for a front man. But now you've got all those midfielders that Chelsea have. You got Pulisic,
Reece James on overlapping.
Werner running off Lukaku, like that is insane.
That's the question. Have they written off Werner as a business expense at this point after last season? Are they going to play with 2 strikers, but every other position seems to be finding their footing?
Yeah, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He looks like a nice guy. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's going to have a much better season this year. He had it was like, they counted up, it was like 12 or 13 goals ruled off by VAR. Like something ridiculous like that.
So he's going to love the Prem.
Well, I hear they're loosening up on the VAR rules this year.
That's what I've heard as well. So hopefully.
Yeah, so Werner should be scoring a little bit more and opening up Lukaku's role just a little bit. But whether he's worth 100 or so million, I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think he's worth 100 million. I think he's a great addition to the Chelsea squad. They needed a little bit more finishing last season, but $100 million is a lot of money.
It'd be interesting to see what, and we'll probably put this up, but I would be curious to see what the over/under goals on Lukaku are for this year.
If we find it, we can
we'll put them
that
up
definitely.
Yeah.
All right, and so the last person I want to talk about just in this transfer period, that apparently is the second coming of Jesus Christ, Jadon Sancho. I get it. He's a phenomenal player. He's a young, really, really exciting player. Well, it was like 76 million, the transfer from Dortmund. Is he going to be what Man United need, or is he going to follow more of a Werner trajectory?
What I don't understand is why he didn't get much time playing in the Euros. That's the thing I don't get. Didn't get any time really playing with England. Maybe that's, I don't know, maybe he's not fit. Maybe he didn't want to get hurt for the Premier League, but didn't get a lot of time playing. Didn't see him a lot. He's moving to the Premier League. I don't know. He's one of those players, all players from Dortmund moving over have been class. So I can't really doubt him. But I don't know. That's a lot of money. They've been wanting him for a while. They got his price down to something reasonable. Not a terrible buy, and he's going to sell jerseys. Same way.
I think I don't mind the price tag because of his age, right?
Yeah.
He has the very real possibility of selling for more than they bought him for in 4 years. Let's say he does amazing. Lukaku, how old is Lukaku? 26?
I think he might be 28, 26, 28, somewhere in that range.
Kane is older. If that.
I know they're around the
goes
same age
through.
as me, because when I look at these giant dudes, and I'm like 5'10" and 140 pounds, and I see these 26-year-olds who look like they could be my
You could win a
uncle.
header against Lukaku.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't mind the buy. It's just it's coming down to if he is going to fill the role that Man United need for him to play.
Yep.
And I hope it is, because he's a fun player to watch. Tighten up that top 4 race a little bit more. Hopefully closing down the top 1 of Man City. But it's going to be exciting to see. I mean, Man United has bulked up. Man City's bulked up. Liverpool is back to full health, I think.
Yeah.
Chelsea bulked up after winning the Champions League.
And I think they all realize that with the fixture congestion and playing back to back to back, we don't know how long this is going to go on with each COVID variant that comes out, how the schedules are going to go. I think they realize very quick that even the big teams can run thin. You're 2, 3, 4 injuries away from being a top 4 contender to trying to stay in the top 6. So I think they realize that, and with Champions Leagues and with Euros and with the Europa League and whatever new section of the Europa League they added in for Arsenal.
No, Arsenal's not even in. Tottenham's in.
Are they in that weird second Europa League?
The conference.
The conference, yeah, whatever that is.
I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
we have European football, baby.
Yeah. European football.
Yeah, like you said, Man City could have 2 Premier League teams fighting for the top 6.
Yep.
Just with their players. They could field 2 fully competitive teams for the Premier League. And it's hard to see them not as favorites, but
yeah, I mean, people say, hey, who are the odds-on favorite for winning the Premier League? It's Man City B, and then who's ever after that. Like that's just how it is.
It's like Man City B, Pep's family, and then everyone else.
Yep.
All right, but you want to note that before we get into our predictions for the season, because we're going to make this one quick, hopefully. You think you have a question of Liverpool? Are they back as title contenders? What's your reasoning? Why do you think this?
Yeah, well, it's a question. So losing Van Dijk had to be the biggest loss of their season last year. Yes, they had defensive issues with, they lost a lot of people, but using that central spine of them had to just be an absolute crusher. So now that he's back, and, as of yesterday or the day before, they just lost Robertson for a month or so, hurting his ankle. But barring any injury issues, they were the only ones who could contend with Man City, and they even won a title. So I think they can make a good run for it. Klopp said he's still open to signing a few, so there might be a surprising signing, maybe a midfielder. But they have, when you look at them, they have one of the best squads. They got one of the best squads out of any of them. So there's no reason. Every season before they're contenders, there's no reason why they shouldn't be this year.
Yeah, my thing with Liverpool is they had their injury problems last year, but they didn't use that to, I don't know if motivate them is the right word. They played like they still had the best team on paper. Like, I'd watch Liverpool games against mid-table teams, and they're just whipping balls in with no one in mind, just thinking, oh, we're Liverpool, we'll score.
Yep.
So I think they need to find their identity a little bit more. Van Dijk coming back is definitely going to help that. So I could see him battling, but I really think that top 4, top 6 is going to be a tight one this year. So give us your prediction then. Top 6. What
All
do you
right,
got?
for my top 6, going at number 1, an absolute shocker, Manchester City. I mean, we've discussed it. They are the odds-on favorite. Everyone thinks you'd be a fool not to put them at number 1. And that's just because they are so deep and they are so good, and they are improving when they're strong. So, there's no reason to doubt them, unless some internal issue goes on with them and everything goes to crap, then, they're odds-on favorite.
Well, DraftKings has them at minus 165 right now.
Yeah, so
as a future, that says something.
That's a lock, pretty much. We've got Chelsea coming in at number 2. I think under their new coach, they've sorted out their defensive issues. They're not giving up much goals, and they've only increased what they have for their attack. And with Lukaku on there, if you're not giving up goals and you've got the attacking power, I mean, they're already class, and they're pretty deep as well. And as long as players like Werner turn up and Lukaku turns up, I think they're a good shout for second. Number 3 would be Manchester United. Now, I love Manchester United only because of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and as much, I love the fact that he is just like saying, "I played for you guys. Can I coach?" And they're like, "Sure." And he has just done so well that the board's like, when can we get rid of this guy? And he's so well liked. He's got his baby face, and deep down, I want him to do well. And I think his players want him to do well. And I think that's why they're playing hard for him. And I think, they've got as strong a team as any there too. And something about them, kind of what you mentioned earlier, with Liverpool when they had injuries and guys who weren't playing hard. I think Man United's the opposite. I think he's really instilled that, hey, balls to the wall, old school Manchester United. If we're down or if we're tied in the 90th minute, this is Fergie time. We're scoring. So I think he instills that. Number 4, Leicester City. We're doing it this year, man. 5th place 2 years in a row. Last game of the season. Your Tottenham screwed us, but I think this year we've got it. We did lose Fofana in a preseason to a crappy tackle. Broke his leg, so he'll probably be out till January, February, maybe longer. But we're just so consistent, and that team's always improving, and I just have to go with them. I think they'll do it this year. At 5th, I have Liverpool. Now, I know I talked about them being title contenders, but kind of what we saw and what you mentioned, they are 1 or 2 injuries away. They've also got the AFCON Cup. So Salah, Mane, they're leaving for a couple weeks to play.
Yeah.
So the big thing about Liverpool is I think they defend from the front, and I think when their attackers are gone, they are not a good defensive team. I think they put so much pressure up top that kind of lets their defenders relax, lets them push up. They pretty much play half their games on one half of the field. But if you lose that pressure, I think they might be in trouble there. And then coming in at 6th, I have your Tottenham. Yeah, man, I just think they're going to be a mess, and I think they'll lose Kane, and if they keep Kane, I don't think he's going to be happy, and I think Levy's a drama kid. I think he causes drama in the team, and, I still don't know guys about, like, Dele Alli. Like, is he going to be playing? He was a superstar, and now he's hanging out on the bench, growing mustaches, and hanging out with James Madison in his free time, so I don't know what's going on. But that's my top 6 prediction, so hopefully come May, I'm spot on, and Leicester City have made the Champions League.
All right. So my top 6 starts very similar. I have Man City number 1, like you said. I don't know if anyone wouldn't have them at number 1 at this point. It's going to take something special for them to stop being the favorites. Number 2, I have Chelsea. I mean, I think Lukaku's going to help him out. I think the other positions around him are getting stronger. Not transfer wise, just reps together wise. So I think they're gonna be right up there with Man City. Number 3, I actually do have Liverpool. Now that they're healthy, I didn't know about Salah and Mane leaving, so maybe I have to rethink that one. 4, I have Man United. I think they're gonna be doing well this year. I think Jadon Sancho is gonna take a little bit of time though, and those are gonna be valuable points. Come the short end of the season. Then in 5th, I have Tottenham. I think they are in shambles, but I also think that they're a little bit more motivated now that Jose's gone. I think he alienated the wrong players. He favored the wrong players. I think Dele Alli, just looking at his preseason, it looks like he's coming back into form. I'd love to see him reach where he was 2-3 seasons ago. And then in 6th place, I have Leicester. Your Leicester. But honestly, I really think 3 through 6 down, even 7-8 is going to be tight.
Yeah.
I do think Man City and Chelsea kind of make a league of their own, but I'd be excited if they did it.
What are the odds we have our rose-colored glasses on and we're giving our teams a little bit extra bumps?
Maybe we'll both be in the Europa Conference next year.
Hopefully at least. I hope we both make Europe. How about that? Some
There
sort
we
of
go.
Europe.
That's the goal.
If Leicester make Europe, that's a good season. It's a good season. Maybe another FA Cup here or there. We'll see.
So I'm looking at DraftKings odds right now for top 4. They have their top 4 set, just like in stone. There is some value here, I think. They have Man City to make top 4 at minus 3,500, obviously. Chelsea minus 500, Liverpool minus 400, Man United minus 300. Leicester's plus 450, Tottenham's plus 500. I think there's some value right there.
I do too. You know, that's some good money to be made. It's not 5,000 to 1, but
yeah. But I mean, I just don't think in a league as competitive as the Premier League, you can have 4 teams at minus 300 and under, like for top 4.
Yeah.
I just don't see it because, like you said, Liverpool's 1 or 2 injuries away. Man United is Jadon Sancho away, or Jadon Sancho not performing away. Chelsea is Lukaku fighting the coach away. The only team I think is solid is Man City, probably Chelsea, but.
And it is weird, you know, something that I hear, you know, these old players and broadcasters talking about. These players these days, very emotional based. It's as soon as exactly what you said, as soon as you stop getting along with the coach or there's something wrong in the dressing room, that's the season sometimes. And you know, so these teams, I'm actually looking at teams like who's getting along in the dressing room. I'm like that ups their odds.
I
for
have
me.
live streams of training.
Yeah.
Of who's laughing the most.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about who's going to win. Let's close it off on a very sad note. Who's going to lose? Who's relegated, do you think? Give me your 3.
In order.
I can tell you who DraftKings thinks is going to be the worst.
Okay, let me take a guess first before you tell me. I'm going to put at 20th place. I'm going to say Norwich go down. They yo-yo up, they yo-yo down. Not enough Pookie power to keep them up. Losing Todd Cantwell probably not going to be good. Next, Brentford. You know, I really like that they're in the Premier League. I just don't see them staying up. And last, you know, a lot of people may not agree with this, but I think Southampton's going down. I think they're going down. I think there's something off there. Like, they've been in shambles the past 2 years, barely holding on. They've lost 9-0 2 seasons in a row. And then you lose your top forward. Like, without Ings, I wonder what their points have been at. So I'm going to say those are my top 3.
So Southampton is actually on DraftKings 14th. So not on the bottom 3.
All
There's our Watford, Norwich, and Brentford. I agree with Watford and Brentford. I like that Brentford's up. You know, that's fun. I think Norwich is gonna be a little bit more surprising. Who they get on loan from Chelsea? Midfielder. Can't think of the name right now.
I can't either.
But they have him coming in. They were fun to watch in the championship when I watched last season. You know, they won the whole thing. So the team that I think is going to replace them in the bottom 3 is Newcastle. I think Newcastle just hasn't really shown any sense of being a team. It just seems like they just grabbed 11 people that were pre-gaming the game and were like, here's a jersey.
You know what? I'm going to make a quick switch. I'm switching out Watford for Brentford. Brentford stays up, Watford's out.
Okay.
Norwich, Watford, Southampton. Those are my ones.
Those are some bold predictions coming here.
That's what I want.
Except for each of us choosing Man City to win.
Yes.
But hey, it's gonna be exciting. We're gonna get at least some glimpse of if we're gonna be nearly right or totally wrong next week. Get a match week under our belt. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
The season's here, baby.
Solid first cast. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was very informative and educational, if you ask me.
All right.
So that's it. Like I said, we're going to be back next week to break down match week 1. Look forward to match week 2. Like I said, we've been Better Off. I'm Harry. That's Jordan. Follow us on Twitter at Better Off Sports, Instagram TikTok at BettorOff. Find us in the App Store under BettorOff with an O, not better. Like this is a better app because it is. Track your bets, make some money, and find out who's winning. That's it for this week's episode of, I don't know what this is called yet, the Premier League show.
BettorOff Premiercast. I don't know. We'll have a better name by next week.
We'll have a better name. All right, everyone, thank you for watching. Stay safe. We'll see you next week.